An accurate outline of true biblical faith. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, section 3.4. Jesus ascended into heaven after 40 days of instructions. This happened after his death and resurrection. Immediately 2 angels appear and announce his second coming. There are 2 steps in the second coming. Step 1 is when he comes in the clouds to receive the church, both asleep and alive. Note, this includes the Old Testament saints. Step 2, he returns physically to this earth. Upon landing, he splits the Mount of Olives in 2. This is the culmination of the ages. Satan is bound in chains, and the promises that born-again believers accepted in faith are finally set forth as they witness these amazing events. Jesus' ascension, the rapture, and second coming. Now, when he had spoken these things while they watched, he was taken up, raptured, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly towards heaven, as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel, who also said, Men of Galilee, why do you stand gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus who was taken up from you into heaven will come in like manner as you saw him go into heaven. Acts 9:9-11. Jesus instructed his disciples for 40 days. He was then taken up, raptured into the clouds. He is now seated at the right hand of the Father. Hebrews 10:12. 2 men, angels, brought the message of his second coming to the disciples after the ascension. Important fact, the second coming of Jesus is mentioned over 300 times. Jesus is coming to remove his church from earth. This will happen before the 7-year tribulation. At this event, the believer will receive an incorruptible body. This is a new body transformed into its eternal state. This body will be like Jesus. What are the parameters of this event? The timing of this event is in a twinkling of an eye. This event will be preceded by the sound of a trumpet. What are the signs of when this event will happen? Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day or the hour in which the Son of Man is coming. Matthew 25:13. We can know when the timing is near. Matthew 24:32-33. Yet we cannot know the day or the hour. We can know the season that the timing is near. Israel became a nation on May 14, 1948. Israel recovered Jerusalem in the 1967 Six-Day War. These events put Revelation and Daniel into action. The promise and implications of God's second coming. The order of events. Jesus is coming back to earth with his saints on white horses. The saints will follow him to the battle. From his mouth came a sharp sword. He uses the sword to strike the nations. Revelation 19:15. Essentially, with one word, Jesus kills everyone on the battlefield. Finally, the vultures gorge themselves on the dead bodies. Revelation 19:21b. What does he do once he gets there? He throws the Antichrist and the false prophet into the lake of fire forever. He separates the sheep from the goats. Matthew 25:31-33. The sheep remain on the earth for the millennium. The goats are sent to Hades to await judgment. The nation of Israel in its national redemptive state is ushered into the millennium to oversee the temple. He will then sit upon the throne of David. There he will rule and reign for 1,000 years. Finally, Satan is bound in chains for this 1,000 years. Why the millennium? Number one, God must fulfill promises made about Jesus and to Israel and the church. The promise that they would rule and reign over a political kingdom on earth. That includes Jesus, Israel, and the church. There are Bible verses to look up. Only God's rule over sinful man can result in lasting peace. Number two. Number three, this reign will prove that man's depravity emanates from his heart. There is a rebellion at the end of the millennium. This will prove that man's environment has nothing to do with causing him to behave in an evil fashion. Jesus, as a leader, is faithful and true. He is coming to bring a righteous government to this earth. Hebrews 1:8. He will restore his people, Israel. Essentially, he is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Next, Jesus and the quantum creation. If you want to study in more depth, I have included URLs to a PDF and the desktop phone graphic studies that I put on Facebook. Let God's Word show you His truth.